Welcome into Off the Hook Sports. I am Caleb Calhoun. Dave Hooker is off today. We're going to do a shortened show today, and then we're going to take tomorrow off so you guys can get a long weekend and just enjoy the Final Four. And we're going to watch those teams that are playing in it. I still have Florida winning it all. I think they're the best team, but enjoy a Final Four that I'm sure many of you wish Tennessee was in. And then we'll be right back at it on Monday as we focus on the rest of spring practice and get ready for pretty much a college off season, except for baseball at that point. The show brought to you by Banks & Jones, Tennessee's trial attorney. Play to win. Why settle? Banks & Jones, led by T. Scott Jones, banksandjones.com. Live from the Ted Russell Ford Lincoln studio. Ted Russell Ford Lincoln is your home for the finest vehicles in Knoxville, new and used. East Tennessee's largest Ford and Lincoln volume dealer. On tap today for the show, the New York Times came out via The Athletic and used a bunch of data to track the largest fan bases in college football right now. Tennessee is in the top 10 in every possible way you could imagine, but then there's a specific stat that is very interesting for Vol fans that aligns with news about TikTok that's been happening recently. Could a TikTok ban hurt the Vols? We're going to talk about that in a minute. Also, will Tennessee be a less sexy brand for the college football playoff next year? That's going to be hot or cold. There's a few reasons that they might not be as exciting as they once were when Josh Heupel first took over. Will linebackers be a strength for the Vols this year? Linebackers spoke with the media yesterday. We're going to talk about that. And also, free concessions at Coastal Carolina football games. Should Tennessee consider that at Neyland Stadium? Is there a way they can make more money as an investment in the long run if they do that? That sounds crazy. But just hear me out. Stick with it. Stick with me on that. We're going to talk a little bit about that as that goes on. Again, hit that like and subscribe button, ring the bell, turn the notifications on. We're building something great here at Off the Hook Sports, and we want you to be a part of it. So let's dive into today's tough question, which is this. Will a TikTok ban hurt the Vols? Today's tough question, again, brought to you by Banks & Jones, Tennessee's trial attorneys. Play to win. Why settle? Banks & Jones, led by T. Scott Jones, banksandjones.com. The New York Times and The Athletic released a report early Thursday morning, over what's the most popular college football team in the country. They looked at games with the most viewers. They looked at most Google searches. They looked at largest social media presence. They looked at home attendance. They looked at StubHub ticket sales. They looked at merchandise sales. They looked at football revenue and home field aggregate ratings, which basically kind of talked about just the overall home field advantage that people have, football revenue, online sports wagering, who the most money is wagered on, living alumni, and scored it all to see who the most popular college football team is. The rankings are as follows. Michigan's number 1, Ohio State's number 2, Alabama's number 3, Georgia's number 4, Texas is number 5, Penn State's number 6, Tennessee's number 7, Notre Dame's number 8, LSU's number 9, Texas A&M is number 10. On some of the important stats, with TV viewership, Tennessee, games with 4 million plus viewers over the past 4 years. Tennessee was number 7, Alabama number 1, Georgia 2, Ohio State 3, Michigan 4, Texas 5, Penn State 6, Tennessee 7. Games with top 20 regular season viewing, 21 through 2024, the last 4 years. Tennessee, again, by the way, Tennessee had 19 games with 4 million plus viewers. I should throw that out there. Games that were in the top 20 in regular season viewing the past 4 years. Tennessee, again, number 7. Alabama's number 1. Ohio State's number 2. Georgia's number 3. Michigan's number 4. Penn State's number 5. Texas is number 6. Tennessee's number 7 with 7 games. In terms of Google searches, Tennessee was not in the top 10 in that stat. This is based on Google Trends to gauge each team's search history in the U.S. since 2004 relative to other programs. Tennessee was not in the top 10 of that. However, in social media presence and social media following, and that includes X, Facebook, and Instagram, Tennessee has a total of 2.4 million followers for their official accounts across the board. That is number 6. Alabama's number 1, LSU's number 2, Michigan's number 3, Ohio State's number 4, Georgia's number 5, and Tennessee is number 6. Moving on, coming back to social media in 1 second, all right, because that's where this gets interesting. Moving on, home attendance, Tennessee is number 10. Their average attendance rank was number 6 through 21 through 2024. Their percent capacity rank at 11.5. They ended up being number 10 behind Michigan, Penn State, Ohio State, Texas, Nebraska, Alabama, Georgia, Oklahoma, Texas A&M and Texas A&M. That was based on the total attendance and then the capacity of the stadium. StubHub ticket sales, Tennessee, there were only 7 that were tracked. Tennessee was not in the top 7. Merchandise sales, though, Tennessee was number 5 for the 2024 regular season in the college football playoff. Home field aggregate ratings, Fanatics, Tennessee was number 3 behind just Notre Dame and Michigan. And football revenue, Tennessee ended up being number 5 behind Texas, Georgia, Michigan, Notre Dame. They have $137.1 million in revenue. As far as sports betting, Tennessee was top 10 in sports bets. They were number 4 behind USC, Georgia, Alabama, 2.3% of total bets. Top 10 bets with the percent of the most money wagered, 2.4% of the money wagered was Tennessee. That was actually down at number 7. Georgia, Ohio State, USC, Alabama, Texas, and LSU were ahead of them. And living alumni, Tennessee was not in the top 10, but none of those schools outside of Michigan and Penn State, Ohio State, maybe Texas A&M were competing for this large fan base. So all that in the aggregate gave Tennessee the ranking for the 7th most popular college football fans with a score of 29.5 based on how they added all of this up. Now, here's the one stat that really stands out. TikTok and YouTube. Tennessee has the largest TikTok following among the college football programs that were checked. Yes, you heard that right. Tennessee has the largest TikTok program following among the college football programs. Why is that relevant right now? Because for those who don't know, Washington, D.C. has been in a bit of a debate right now with Congress. Last year, Congress passed a law, and then President Biden signed it. Not effectively a TikTok ban, but basically gave TikTok until January to divest, gave the Chinese company running it till January to divest, basically. To say, and if they didn't divest, then TikTok would be shut down in the United States. President Trump came in and delayed the enforcement of the ban for 75 days. Well, the deadline is looming now. The deadline is looming, and we don't know what Trump is going to decide to do, but there is a final proposal, and Saturday is the deadline. So if a deal's not done, or if an agreement's not reached, TikTok could be banned on Saturday. Could that negatively affect Tennessee football? I got to be honest with you. I think it could. And Dylan brings it up perfectly. Dylan, quote, "We do great on TikTok because we pander to younger viewers. We made a meme highlight reel of every win from 2022. Yes, the highlight reel of Tennessee in 2022 with all their wins, particularly the Alabama game, has been a huge selling point that's made people want to become a part of Tennessee. It's big on the recruiting trail. Young people are on TikTok. A big selling point for recruits beyond just NIL, what can get you swept up emotionally, is just how well highlight reels and things are done for programs. I don't know how you guys are, but some of my favorite teams that I fell in love with as a kid in the 90s, one of the reasons I fell in love with them is I would watch some like documentaries on certain seasons with those teams that were so well done that you just kind of got inspired by them. That's how TikTok does, but in a very short way. It reaches a lot of fans. Tennessee has a huge fan presence on TikTok because of that. So with that in mind, a TikTok ban could cause problems for Tennessee. This is a unique way for them to recruit and for Josh Heupel to recruit. And I don't think it's talked about enough. If Tennessee, there are 870,000 Tennessee fans on TikTok. Now, whether or not you're for the merits or not of this, it's quite honestly it could be a problem for Tennessee. They're embedded of this. Derek says, as people are always providing data and analytics for these corporations, the fine print speaks on this. Derek, you are right. I will say, though, the funny thing about that, it's funny that they want to shut down TikTok because China might be collecting data, as if X and Facebook and Instagram aren't also collecting your data and just giving it to the Chinese government. Okay, I mean, it's so laughable to me that they would use that as the pretext to shut down TikTok when Every social media company gives your data to every foreign government, pretty much. I mean, that's just how this works, okay? Once you use your phone, they're collecting your data. All right, Dylan says the reason we still talk about Tavon Austin is because of his West Virginia highlight reel. Exactly. People are talked about with their highlight reel, and TikTok is the perfect place to do a highlight reel. So a TikTok ban could be devastating for Tennessee in terms of recruiting younger people. The show represented by Banks & Jones, Tennessee's trial attorney, Play to Win. Why settle? Banks & Jones, led by T. Scott Jones, banksandjones.com. I'm going to come back to the message board in a second, but I'm going to ask him. I'm going to put it up on the poll question. Are you worried about a TikTok ban hurting Tennessee? Again, quick message, banksandjones.com.
Why Banks & Jones? Well, it's because they're Tennessee's trial attorney. You can play to win with Banks & Jones because they'll go to trial. You've heard of other lawyers. They say they'll go to trial and fight for you. They won't. They just want to settle. That's the easiest way out. Well, that's not Banks & Jones, led by T. Scott Jones. They won't settle. They'll go to trial for you. Tennessee's trial attorney. They play to win. Truly, Tennessee's trial attorney when it comes to criminal defense or personal injury. Why settle? It's Banks & Jones. T. Scott Jones. Banks & Jones.
All right, the poll question is up. Vote on it. Are you worried a TikTok ban could hurt Tennessee since the Vols have the largest TikTok presence? Again, 867,000 Tennessee has the largest TikTok following of 867,000 users among football programs that were checked. Now, in terms of other social media accounts and outliers and things like that, Deion Sanders has the same number of Instagram followers as Georgia, but only one on Instagram at 1.1 million, but only 1/4 as many followers on X. So that's why Colorado did not have a top 10 online platform. But again, we're talking specifically TikTok. We've all heard about Vol Twitter. We all know about Vol Twitter. Vol Twitter can be savage. And that's why, by the way, one of the things that really helps Tennessee the most is while their social media post wasn't number one, their Fanatic ranking was just behind Michigan and Notre Dame in terms of how hardcore they are. And that combined with their social media presence makes Tennessee one of the most dominant social media programs. I mean, they have 900,000 followers with their official account on X, 752 on Facebook, 740 on Instagram. Funny enough, I think a lot of Tennesseans don't even follow their team accounts on those sites because they just don't like the self-promotion done, the self-promotion done by the actual official accounts. They like to give their own takes. And so it's probably even bigger. But Tennessee, we all know about how savage Vol Twitter is. I'm telling you guys, Vol TikTok can be even crazier and wilder. Okay. And it's much more problematic for Tennessee to lose that presence. I think it could hurt Tennessee. I think it could hurt them with younger recruits. I think a lot of recruits, quite honestly, I genuinely think a lot of recruits get swept up by the schools they fall in love with by looking at TikTok. I mean, I know you guys, that may sound crazy. I get it. And I get that sounds weird, but honestly, I genuinely think that TikTok has a huge presence that we're not accounting for, particularly among Gen Zers. And look, you take away not just Gen Zers, but now Gen Alpha, which is the next generation coming up of recruits. You're taking away a strong advantage for Tennessee to reach younger kids who would fall in love with the program based on that. Again, vote on the poll question. Are you worried a TikTok ban could hurt Tennessee since the Vols have the largest TikTok presence? Only 6 people have voted on it right now, guys. Keep voting. I want to hear your thoughts on it. So a few other things. Dylan says David Speaks says he doesn't watch TikTok. His wife does. He watches YouTube. Yeah, I prefer YouTube also. Dylan says, I don't think it would hurt us in the moment, but maybe long-term. Thinking of recruiting, how else would a kid in San Mateo, California know about us without popping on his feed? Exactly. That's what I'm thinking. I think a lot of these kids, a lot of these recruits, once the NIL evens out and they're offering the same money, the emotional feel to a school is what will get them to commit. And proximity and old school recruiting styles, emotional feel, proximity to home, all those things will be a factor. The school that does the best online videos is going to be a real factor in that because it can emotionally sweep you in. And look, Tennessee doing the best online on TikTok could give them a unique advantage in the long term. So I agree with you, Dylan. Ronnie Owensby comes in and says, Tennessee wouldn't need TikTok if they just make big plays. Well, that is true. Make the big plays, and then you'll be splashy on all the social networks. Speaking of, Derek says, what happens if we migrate to another social network? Well, yes, but things are so embedded sometimes with social media. Would Tennessee be lucky enough that they would all migrate to take over another social network? You see what I mean? So that's kind of the issue. Derek is suggesting it'll help. Derek, honestly, I'm kind of intrigued by that. How do you think it'll help? Honest question. Just want to know. So I'm not saying it couldn't, but I'm just curious how it could. Look, I think this TikTok ban, again, this shows how much Tennessee skews towards a younger fan base. You want to maximize that advantage. You want to maximize that advantage with the younger fan base. And if TikTok goes away, then you are going to lose that advantage. Orange Blood says, well, it will go away for every school. Our social media team will adapt. IG, Facebook, and X, and either platform still exists, as well as the knockoff, the TikTok apps. Yes, but Orange Blood, what we're saying is that TikTok is where Tennessee has the largest presence. That's what we're talking about. They don't have the largest presence on Facebook, Instagram, and X. They have a good presence on those. I'm not knocking their presence, but they have the largest on TikTok. And TikTok sucks you in with those quick hit videos as you're just constantly scrolling. And Tennessee was the most has the most engagement on that platform, which is a huge deal for younger viewers. And so I'm honest, just being honest with you guys, this is an advantage for Tennessee that they could lose. How about that? So you don't want it to happen. Now, again, President Trump delayed it 75 days the first time. Maybe something's going to happen on Saturday where they negotiate a new deal to keep TikTok in the United States. But if it goes away, it could truly hurt Tennessee. It could take away an advantage for Tennessee with younger recruits, given the fact that they have the largest TikTok presence. Portions of the program brought to you by Chattanooga Mortgage. Congratulations, your home search just got easier. Buying a home in Chattanooga has never been easier. Chatwith2tsmortgage.com, chatwith2tsmortgage.com. Also by the Hemp House, the premier hemp dispensary online with a wide variety, great selection, and strict standards. Hemp House, chatwith2ts.com. Hemp House, chatwith2ts.com. Use the promo code HOOKED for 10% off. Hooked for 10% off. When we come back, we're going to talk about Tennessee's style of play and if if that is among many things that'll make them a less sexy brand for the college football playoff next year. Hot or cold, stick with us. We'll be back 2 minutes.
It's a new year, a new day, and Ted Russell Lincoln has an exciting new offer to share. Right now, get a 2024 Lincoln Navigator with 0% APR for 72 months and up to $4,000 in bonus cash. Or drive away in a new 2024 Lincoln Corsair Grand Touring with 0% APR for 60 months and up to $4,500 in bonus cash. It's time to get excited about the ride. Come and see what a luxury car experience truly is at Ted Russell Lincoln Knoxville.
Now in its 45th year, the second and third generations continue Joe Newbert's commitment.
His vision of what this business needed to be, we still try to live up to that.
Joe Newbert Collision Center.
Having been in the jewelry industry for a long time in the Knoxville community, I saw a need for a jeweler, a real jeweler.
Our ability to do these designs has really been based on the customers bringing new things in and challenging us as a store. Our goal is not to tell anybody what they want. Our goal is to listen to what they want and then help them get there.
Schedule your consultation today to get your special someone the perfect custom gift just in time for the holidays.
Hi, Mike Davis here with City Heating and Air, reminding you to always dare to compare. Our team provides quality local heating and air service, installation, and maintenance across East Tennessee. We use only the best equipment like American Standard heating and air conditioning for your residential, new construction, or commercial needs. Honesty, dependability, and customer satisfaction have been the cornerstones of our business since 1961. City Heat and Air. Dare to compare.
Double D Piping provides full-service fire protection on any scale. From residential homes to government facilities, we can assist any customer through design, fabrication, installation, inspection, and demonstration of fire suppression systems. With 30 years of service across 5 states and a full staff with over 40 years experience, our quality can't be beat. Don't get caught watching what you could have prevented. Call Double D Piping, the absolute best in.
Welcome back to the program. Caleb Calhoun here with Off the Hook Sports. A shortened show today. Dave Hooker is off, and then again we will be off tomorrow full time. Just want to talk about that. So we are going to address a couple other things. First, the poll question: are you worried a TikTok ban could hurt Tennessee since the Vols have the largest TikTok presence? 67% say no, 33% say yes. And Derek jumps in and says, recruit seeing fan base activity. Caleb, we always bring and build up the money, fight much like a UFC event, hence our fan base eating crow against OSU in the playoffs. Yes, the fan base has a strong presence everywhere, but it's just I think the TikTok fan base is a unique advantage that does help that people aren't aware of. All right. Will Tennessee be a less sexy brand for the college football playoff next year? And this is hot or cold. It is brought to you by City Heating and Air. 50 years in East Tennessee. Integrity matters. cityheatandair.com. The first question we have to ask, and we'll get to this, does the college football playoff weigh factors other than most deserving? Now, we're going to start with that, but first I just want to say this on a broad sense. A few years ago, Josh Heupel had the sexiest brand in college football, and I felt Tennessee would have gotten every benefit of the doubt, particularly after the 2022 season. 2 years later, with an underwhelming offense last year, even though they made the playoffs, they had the best running back in the nation. Did Tennessee lose a bit of its luster, and will that work against Tennessee? Hot or cold, brought to you by City Heating and Air Conditioning. Let's get started. So, first question, hot or cold? Tennessee has a less exciting style of play than they had in 2022. Josh Heupel went a lot more 12 personnel last year. That's the reputation. Nico Iamaleava did not put up the insane numbers people thought. Will that hurt Tennessee in the final week of the regular season when the final college football playoff rankings come out? And if Tennessee's in a debate with another school for maybe to be the final team in as a bubble team, or maybe try to get home field advantage, will the college football playoff, will the Vols' reputation now as playing a less exciting brand hurt them with the college football playoff? I'm going to say yes. Now, things could change if Tennessee does play an exciting brand this year, the whole year, and the reputation picks up. But I think right now, in the committee's mind, I think that Tennessee does play a less exciting brand than they thought, and that could hurt them when they're trying to see the teams to figure out who to put in. They want to put in who they think is the most exciting, because it is a TV show, as Dave always says. So if things are really close and they have to nitpick, I think they might lean towards a more exciting brand. Like, say it's Tennessee versus Ole Miss. Right now, Ole Miss has a more exciting offense than Tennessee's. Lane Kiffin has a more exciting offense than Josh Heupel. Would they lean Ole Miss? Maybe. It's possible. Now, next one. Tennessee, in their most recent playoff outing, got blown out by Ohio State in the first round, got humiliated, 42-17. Now, Ohio State humiliated everybody en route to a national title, and they happened to be playing Tennessee at home, unlike the other ones. Question is, the unfortunate thing for Tennessee is that Tennessee lost early. And so Tennessee didn't have any chance to make any sort of statement with the win before they got blown out by Ohio State. And so that's the most recent reputation on everybody's mind. Will that work against them when it comes to the College Football Playoff Committee? I'm going to say no. I'm going to say that it won't hurt them when it comes to the reputation of the College Football Playoff Committee. I think that they will rationally see that Ohio State blew out everybody last year, and Ohio State winning the national title has changed things a little bit. Now, Tennessee's fan base in Columbus, the way they took over Columbus with a 42% clip of the stadium, will that help Tennessee in the college football playoff rankings? Yes. Yes, this is one that'll help them a lot. And the reason it's going to help them, and I'm hot on less exciting will hurt them. I'm cold on the idea that blowout loss will hurt them. But I'm hot on the idea that their fan base in Columbus will help them next year with the college football playoff. It's going to help them with trying to pick between, if it's between an 8 and 9 seed for Tennessee and it's really close, remember the 8 seed you get to host, they're going to give Tennessee the 8 seed. And they're going to play to give them the home game because they saw what their fans did last year and they know that they would hope that would drive up ticket prices for the home game. They have to think a little bit politicking. If they are politicking, that's going to come into play. So I'm very hot on this. Will Tennessee going to war with the NCAA hurt the Vols? Again, I want to say yes. I'm hot on that. And here's why I'm hot on that. Just hear me out. There's still a disproportionate amount of non-SEC and Big Ten commissioners on the College Football Playoff Committee, or Big Ten affiliated people, or SEC affiliated people. Tennessee's declaring open war on the NCAA basically set in motion the ability for the Big Ten and the SEC to consolidate more power and just throw NCAA rules to the side. And the less powerful the NCAA gets, the more pushed out and relevance the other conferences get. And many of those commissioners are going to be unhappy about that. And I do think a couple of them could subconsciously punish Tennessee. I know that's crazy, but I could see it happen. So less exciting style of play. You know what? I'm going to switch. Less exciting style of play. I'm cold on. I'm actually going back to cold because it's going to happen at the end of the year. It's not like Tennessee's not going to play a lot of national TV games this year. If their exciting style of play this year returns, I'm changing my views in real time with you guys. If their exciting style of play returns to 2022, I'm hot on them getting in. But I'm hot on I'm cold on that working against them. But I'm hot in general on their style of play being a factor. How about that? I'm hot on Tennessee's style of play being a factor. I'm hot on their blowout loss to Ohio State being a factor, but I'm also hot on the fans in Columbus. I'm cold on their blowout loss to Ohio State being a factor. I'm hot on the fans in Columbus being a factor, and I'm hot on them going to war with the NCAA being a factor. But the final question, and again, hot or cold, brought to you by City Heating and Air Conditioning. Does the college football playoff weigh any of these factors? Is there any sort of politicking that goes on? I'll give you my answer in 30 seconds. First, a quick message from City Heating and Air.
Hi, Mike Davis here with City Heating and Air, reminding you to always dare to compare. Our team provides quality local heating and air service, installation, and maintenance across East Tennessee. We use only the best equipment like American Standard heating and air conditioning for your residential, new construction, or commercial needs. Honesty, dependability, and customer satisfaction have been the cornerstones of our business since 1961. City Heat and Air. Dare to compare.
So, welcome back to the program, and I'm asking this as a poll question. The question is, does the CFP committee weigh external factors beyond just best team, like best draw, excitement, etc.? You guys can vote, say yes or no. Based on last year, truth be told, no. But I think they will. I'm hot on them doing it this year because last year the TV show wasn't good. It wasn't good. And I think that because the TV show wasn't good, I think that they're going to change this year and they're going to weigh those factors a little bit more, honestly. Maybe very unpopular to think, but I got to be honest. I don't see how they don't do it. It was not a good look the way things went last year with so many teams getting blown out in the first couple of rounds and just Ohio State coasting through everybody. They're going to weigh some politicking this year. They might give Alabama or South Carolina the nod over SMU going forward. They might even, one of the things they might do is they might even have regretted giving Ohio State the home field advantage over Tennessee, even though I said from the time Ohio State deserved it. Not only was Tennessee filling up Columbus a bad look for Ohio State blowing Tennessee out was a bad look for the CFP. And maybe they felt because Tennessee's the worst team, maybe they might feel this time because Tennessee's the worst team, and it's a close call over who deserves a home field advantage. Let's give Tennessee the home field advantage so that we can make the game a little bit closer. You don't think that's going to come into play? I think a lot of this stuff is going to end up being in play this year because of how things worked out last year. Remember, one of the biggest reasons Florida State was left out of the college football playoff despite going undefeated in 2023, and I felt they should have been left out anyway, even if Jordan Travis had stayed healthy. But Jordan Travis getting hurt is what pushed them out and put Alabama in. Florida State got pushed out because in 2022, TCU made it to the national title game, and there was an utter humiliation at the hands of Georgia. Georgia won, was it 65-7? They didn't want a repeat of that, and they felt it would happen without Jordan Travis. That's why Florida State got pushed out. I know it's crazy to think about, but that's why Florida State got pushed out. They didn't look good against Louisville. It wasn't the same as Ohio State with Cardale Jones in 2014, where Ohio State went to the Big Ten title. Cardale Jones stepped in, and they beat Wisconsin 59-0, and they just dominated. Ohio State looked better with Cardale Jones. Florida State looked worse in their ACC title win without Jordan Travis. It cost them, and that's how they got left out of the college football playoff, because the committee did not want, because of what happened with Georgia and TCU the year before. Don't think they're not going to do the same thing this time around, guys. They take that stuff into consideration because they tried not to last year. I don't think there was much politicking going on last year. And I think that was a mistake. Because at the end of the day, this is a TV show. And if you're going to create the gimmick, then you got to make the gimmick entertaining. You know, SMU over Alabama. I said SMU belonged over Alabama based on body of work. But no person could reasonably see SMU would have put up a better fight in the first round than Alabama. I don't think Indiana belonged. They didn't beat anybody. I think the one loss being to Ohio State, they should have been knocked out. They had no quality wins to hang their hat on at all. They should not have been in. A 3-loss Alabama belonged over a 1-loss Indiana last year. That showed. So I think that, look, I think the committee is going to take some of that stuff into account this year. And given the situations surrounding Tennessee, that could hurt Tennessee. So just watch out for that. I'm just warning you guys now. I know it's unpopular to think about, but it's kind of the way things are going. Portions of the program brought to you by Hound Dogs of Knoxville. Champions look good in orange. hdknoxville.com, hdknoxville.com. Also by Joe Newber Collision Center. For nearly 50 years, Newber Collision Center has been East Tennessee's best choice for quality repair work. Fantastic customer service. JoeNewberCollision.com. When we come back, we're going to talk a little bit of X's and O's. Tennessee trotted William Ainge out yesterday, and they talked a little bit of linebackers. So we're going to talk about what they said about the linebackers and what Tennessee can do at that position. Stick with us. We'll be back 2 minutes.
Why Banks & Jones? Well, it's because they're Tennessee's trial attorney. You can play to win with Banks & Jones because they'll go to trial. You've heard of other lawyers. They say they'll go to trial and fight for you. They won't. They just want to settle. That's the easiest way out. Well, that's not Banks & Jones, led by T. Scott Jones. They won't settle. They'll go to trial for you. Tennessee's trial attorney. They play to win. Truly, Tennessee's trial attorney when it comes to criminal defense or personal injury. Why settle? It's Banks & Jones. T. Scott Jones. BanksandJones.com.
Now in its 45th year, the second and third generations continue Joe Newbert's commitment.
His vision of what this business needed to be, we still try to live up to that.
Joe Newbert Collision Center.
Community banking is about location and much more. It's about family. We reside in your community. We are a part of your community. At Commercial Bank, our commitment extends beyond the walls of our branches. It's displayed each day in the opportunities we provide, the money we give back, and the time we commit, all to help improve the lives of the people, families, and businesses that make our communities great. Commercial Bank, life made better.
Hi, Mike Davis here with City Heating and Air, reminding you to always dare to compare. Our team provides quality local heating and air service, installation, and maintenance across East Tennessee. We use only the best equipment like American Standard heating and air conditioning for your residential, new construction, or commercial needs. Honesty, dependability, and customer satisfaction have been the cornerstones of our business since 1961. City Heat and Air.
Dare to compare. Are you ready to get strong? At NFC, we offer top-notch weight training and functional fitness, so you can build strength and improve your performance. Join today at NFC1.com or stop by any one of our 7 East Tennessee locations.
Welcome back to Off the Hook Sports. Portions of the program brought to you by Peak IV Hydration in South Knoxville and Sevierville. Live your life to the fullest. Hydrate, rejuvenate, and elevate your health with Peak IV Hydration. Link is in the chat, peakivhydration.com. Spring practice continues for Tennessee football, and William Eames, the linebackers coach, spoke to the media on Wednesday. And as you guys know, Keenan Peely had back-to-back season-ending injuries for Tennessee in 2023 and 2024, which really hurt them at the middle linebacker spot. However, that did lead to the development of Jeremiah Thielander down the stretch. Arian Carter started last year for the first time, showed a lot of promise, showed he was still raw his second year in the system, should get better this year, but is one of the most athletic people on the team. Before last year, Tennessee had issues at linebacker under Josh Heupel. This was an underrated position in which they struggled because of the departures. Aaron Beasley was not athletic enough to play linebacker in the SEC. Jeremy Banks was not smart enough to handle coverage duties as a linebacker. The combination of the two made for a disastrous first 2 years. And then in 2023, Keenan Peely, who was supposed to be a huge boost, goes down the first game of the year. And so they have to run Elijah Herring at linebacker. And it just didn't work because Elijah Herring, as he was a smart player and he played hard, but he just had limited athleticism. And then Aaron Beasley was still out there. So last year there was an upgrade at linebacker for a while. But again, raw with Arian Carter, Keenan Peely coming back from injury. Keenan Peely then gets hurt. Arian Carter and Jeremiah Thielander finish the year as the two starting linebackers. They're now back this year as the two starting linebackers in Tennessee. Thielander at the middle linebacker, Arian Carter is the outside linebacker. Will linebackers finally be a strength for Tennessee? William Eames talked about the most important thing for them is to get them on the field. He says that, quote, as far as Carter and Thielander go, we're really putting them in, as we will call, putting them in heat under pressure and allowing them to thrive under pressure and being able to coach them up, because mistakes that are made, we've got to coach them and make sure that we get them better. He also insisted that they're not shorthanded, that the approach in the room is to, quote, attack, and that's going to be the standard. Look, one of the knocks we had on Tim Banks last year was Tennessee did not dial up enough blitz packages. Now, that wasn't a problem because the defensive line was so elite and so loaded. But I think one of the reasons he also didn't dial up a lot of blitz packages and complex schemes is because of the fact that for at least half the season, when they would have needed it, the only two games they would have needed it would have been Georgia and Ohio State. Arian Carter was still raw, and Thielander was still learning things. When the minute you dial up blitz packages, you make it hard for those guys to get back in coverage, to understand coverages. You make it harder for them to stay in their right spots in coverage plays. So I think he just focused on coverage, hoping the defensive line would do its job. Defensive tackles, they lost a couple of guys from last year, so it won't be as deep this year, particularly with James Pierce gone. And more notably, Arian Carter and Jeremiah Thielander are more familiar with the system. So I think this year you might see more of a, as William Eames says, attack, a vertical attack from Tim Banks' defensive calls, like you saw 2 years ago, if and when it's needed. And it might be needed early because they're playing Georgia week 3, and actually Syracuse won't be the easiest game in week 1. So that's kind of interesting. The other thing that really stood out for me was he brought up Edwin Spillman, who they were asked if he could play both linebacker positions. And Eames said that everyone is responsible to know both positions. So we call them dual purpose linebackers, and that he's somebody who's able to do both of them. So now they have depth with Edwin Spillman. And Brendan Ains is a freshman who's actually starting to stand out too, along with Jaden Perlow and Jaden Harmon. And he's insisting, like I said, they're not shorthanded. And then there's redshirt freshman Jordan Burns. Now, William Eames said this is a what the H moment, but he said at one point, when you see some flashes, you would think you're looking at like an Al Wilson with Jordan Burns, who plays extremely fast, extremely aggressive, and extremely physical. Now, nobody should get an Al Wilson comparison at linebacker for Tennessee. That's not allowed. That shouldn't be allowed. But that doesn't mean the linebackers aren't a reason to get excited this year. So I'm going to say it now. Bank on it. Brought to you by Commercial Bank, member FDIC, Life Made Better, CBTN.com. Bank on it. Linebackers, for the first time, will be a strength for Tennessee football this year. Bank on it.
Commercial Bank is your neighborhood bank. What makes us different from other banks? We understand that every customer has unique opportunities, challenges, and financial concerns. We don't expect you to fit into the same box as the next person or business. Whether it's purchasing a home, saving for your child's future, or planning for your next vacation, we're with you every step of the way to navigate life's big decisions. Commercial Bank. Life.
All right, so the poll question is up. Will linebackers finally be a strength for Tennessee football in 2025? Yes, no, they already were a strength. Vote on that now, please. I'm going to say yes. Linebackers will be a strength for Tennessee football in 2025. They will be a major advantage, okay? Tennessee they finally have both starters returning from the previous year. That's a huge advantage. You hate what happened with Keenan Peely. If he was in there, Tennessee may have actually had a chance to go further in the playoffs. So for last year, that was a problem. But getting T-Lander out there did help them for this year. T-Lander does seem more ready to go, and he showed promise down the stretch. Aaron Carter, with the full year of having started, should be incredible. Now, Derek has a good point. Aaron Carter just got caught trailing tight ends with his head not turned too many times. That's true. And that's why I think Tim Banks didn't dial up too many blitzes, is because a lot of blitz packages, it's incumbent on the linebacker to know if they need to attack or if they need to drop in coverage. And Aaron Carter didn't seem like he was ready to figure that out. And Derek has a great point. T-Lander had a game against Bama, never got much credit, honestly. I agree, Derek, but remember this. Part of that was scheming. It got very easy to have a good game against Alabama because of the pressure around the edges and the high cover 2 that Tim Banks played in that game. He basically put out the playbook for how you shut down Jalen Milroe. And I mean, so it got easier on the linebackers to handle that game. But that was his first start, so I'm not denying that he deserves a lot of credit for how he played that game. You are right about that, but I'm just saying that was a big thing. If Tennessee stays fully healthy at linebacker with Carter and T-Lander, they could be very, very, very good this year. I think it will be a strength for them. I think it'll be a strength for them for the first time. I don't think it's been a strength for them to this point because they've either dealt with injuries or inexperience or lack of athleticism, or in some cases, all three. Okay. So I think that they haven't been able to get a collection of linebackers that are fully healthy, experienced to the level that they need to be experienced at, and athletic at the level they need to be athletic at. They finally have that this year, guys. I'm telling you, they finally have that, assuming everybody stays healthy. And even if they don't, if Edwin Spillman is ready to step in, then I think that Edwin Spillman, that could be solid. And then I'd have to eat crow because y'all know my thoughts on Edwin Spillman and what I said about him coming out of high school. I pointed out that Lipscomb Academy tends to produce overrated talent. But I could be wrong. And also, maybe William Ainge and Tim Banks are better coaches to develop Spillman than a lot of other kids who come out of there. So that's all I'm just saying. So we'll see how that goes. So will linebackers finally be a strength for Tennessee football in 2025? 60% say yes, 20% say no, 20% they already were a strength. Portions of the program are brought to you by Quality Tire Pros. Serving Chattanooga community since 1957, all major brands of tires, full service automotive, brake alignments, oil changes, and more. QualityTirePros.com. Walk in and say, "Hey, Bo, Off the Hook sent you." QualityTirePros.com. Also brought to you by Rick Terry Jewelry Designs. They want to be your jeweler looking for affordable game day jewelry, a Tennessee tradition. RickTerryJewelry.com. When we come back, again, shortened show, we're going to close things out with an interesting story surrounding Coastal Carolina and what they're doing at their stadium and whether or not Tennessee should follow suit. Stick with us. 2 minutes Off the Hook Sports.
Like a blast from the past, the Super Dealer is back. Look to the skies, Knoxville. The Super Dealer is fighting for price, service, and the American-made. Ted Russell Ford is East Tennessee's #1 volume Ford dealer. Save up to $4,350 on a new Ford F-150 XLT, or get into a new Ford Ranger XLT with no payments for 90 days. Come see the Super Dealer today at either Ted Russell Ford location, Parkside Drive or Kingston Pike.
Sports Treasures in North Knoxville is one of the South's largest sports cards and memorabilia dealers, featuring over 10 million sports cards from vintage to modern. Sports Treasures carries a full line of hobby boxes, singles, autographed memorabilia, Tennessee Vol collectibles, fan cave decorations, and so much more. See a museum full of collectibles at Sports Treasures, 4819 North Broadway in Fountain City, and Sports Treasures on Facebook. Sports Treasures, where the real sports fan goes to shop.
Community banking is about location and much more. It's about family. We reside in your community. We are a part of your community. At Commercial Bank, our commitment extends beyond the walls of our branches. It's displayed each day in the opportunities we provide, the money we give back, and the time we commit, all to help improve the lives of the people, families, and businesses that make our communities great. Commercial Bank, life made better.
Double D Piping provides full-service fire protection on any scale. From residential homes to government facilities, we can assist any customer through design, fabrication, installation, inspection, and demonstration of fire suppression systems. With 30 years of service across 5 states and a full staff with over 40 years experience, our quality can't be beaten. Don't get caught watching what you could have prevented. Call Double D Piping, the absolute best in fire.
Welcome back to Off the Hook Sports Shortened Show today. Portions of the program are brought to you by the UPS Store Hardin Valley, helping individuals and small businesses, wide range of products and services, locally owned and operated, 10629 Hardin Valley Road. Also, by Work Trucks. We're all about trucks that are actually available, trucks that help you maximize your profits by having the right work vehicle. Now, time is money. The perfect work vehicle doesn't break down and has all of the space to carry out what you need. That's what Work Trucks is intent on offering, while other dealerships just can't do it. Contracting is about time. Work Trucks saves you time with less back and forth trips and trucks that pass the highest standards to be put to work. The process is also quick and easy when choosing a vehicle for Work Trucks. Cargo vans, utility body trucks with the nap hide work bodies installed, pickup trucks of all sizes, and anything special like cranes or dump trucks. Work Truck supplies vehicles to people just like you and get you back on the road tomorrow. No dealership runaround. If you're a contractor, you need to know Work Trucks, and that's a fact. Service industry, remember Work Trucks. Work Trucks carries the trucks that your business has to have. You need Work Trucks. Clinton Highway in Knoxville and in downtown Birmingham. For the entire inventory, go online to worktrucksllc.com. Worktrucksllc.com with an X. Why risk chancing your future in business on the wrong piece of equipment that burns your time? Worktrucksllc.com. Work Trucks will also work to make sure that you have the perfect vehicle you have to have. They'll even find a perfect truck, outfit it, and make sure it fits your needs to a T. Work Trucks with an X, LLC.com. WorkTrucksLLC.com, proud supporters of the Tennessee Vols. All right. Getting back to some interesting conversations. Coastal Carolina, the Chanticleers, a new Division I program who was led by Jamie Chadwell until recently, who many Tennessee fans wanted to be hired after Jeremy Pruitt was fired, has now lit up social media. They did it on Monday by promising unlimited free hot dogs, nachos, popcorn, soda, and water for every ticket holder at every Chanticleers home game for the 2025 season. Now, many schools have slashed concession prices. Others have sold unlimited food packages. Others have offered unlimited concessions in certain luxury areas. But nobody has offered to feed an entire stadium for free. So what's been going on? Well, it sounds like this is not for money making. They're trying to build the fan base. They're trying to pack the stadium to have an electric environment. That's what one of their deputy AD said. To get the free food, fans will have to download an app that will generate a code concession workers can scan to keep track of visits. Fans will also have to enter some basic information into the app and the contact info of some single game ticket buyers or fans using their friend season tickets will make for incredible leads as they try to grow their season ticket base. So this is a data collection thing. Funny, we just started the show with TikTok. Now we're ending it. Now their ticket office workers will follow up with those fans. And if they had fun, they're more likely to buy more tickets. This is a marketing ploy. Now, Tennessee is on a much larger scale than Coastal Carolina. They have fans. They don't need new fans. So The question becomes, if they don't need new fans, should they do this at Neyland Stadium? Should they offer free tickets? I'm just going to say it. Yes. I think this would be a brilliant move for Tennessee. I know y'all think this is crazy, but okay, hear me out. Not for every seat in the stadium, maybe not for students. I don't know. You pick a certain segment of like people who, like, if you buy these type of tickets, you can get free food, free certain types of food the rest of the game. Now, again, Tennessee has a gigantic fan base. That does not mean that people don't go to the games. That may not be your loyal fans. It may just be some casuals. Sometimes, casuals go all the time. Why not? Maybe for a game. Just do it for a game. Promise free concessions for that game. Do it for like the Chattanooga game. Not the Chattanooga game. For like your homecoming game or your FCS game this year. Promise free concessions. Promise free booze. And you have to scan it. You have to scan your ticket on your phone to do it. And then they can collect your data and then they can target you. I think this would be a brilliant move for Danny White. Just one game. They don't have to do Coastal Carolina for the whole year. Coastal Carolina has a fan base they're trying to build. But one game a year, I think Tennessee should offer free concessions to everybody. Now, one of the interesting things that could happen is, I said this is a way to bring back the spring game. If you want the spring game to be interesting, give free concessions out at the spring games. And collect data that way. You have to download something on your phone, and then they could just target you as a fan. And I'm telling you, this is a very underrated way to draw more fans. Now, the question is, does Tennessee need more fans? Many people would debate that they don't. I understand that, but there's an argument for it. I'm just saying. I'm going to put up that poll question. First, a quick message from Ted Russell Ford, Super Dealer in March.
Like a blast from the past, the Super Dealer is back. Look to the skies, Knoxville. The Super Dealer is fighting for price, service, and the American made. Ted Russell Ford is East Tennessee's #1 volume Ford dealer. Save up to $4,350 on a new Ford F-150 XLT, or get into a new Ford Ranger XLT with no payments for 90 days. Come see the Super Dealer today at either Ted Russell Ford location, Parkside Drive, or
all right, the poll question is up, guys. You guys go vote on it. Could the Vols benefit from free concessions at Neyland Stadium for a game? The responses, the possibilities are yes, get new fans, or no, they're too big a program. So you guys go vote on it. Give me your thoughts on it. I think this is an interesting philosophy. And not just for Tennessee, by the way. I think for a lot of programs. Tennessee already has the talent fee. They're already trying to do the entertainment district to charge people. Why not draw them in with just one game of free concessions? And yes, free. Now, again, free booze, like I suggested, I don't know if you're allowed to do that. I don't know the laws. I don't know the liquor laws or the beer laws of Tennessee. I have no idea if you can give out free alcohol at a stadium. That's probably a little bit of an issue. But how about this? What about a deal for every game of like bottomless drinks? Like you go to those, like, anybody, but y'all been to bars and clubs and places like that, like if you pay a certain amount up front, sometimes they'll offer you bottomless drinks on certain nights. There's bottomless mimosas for brunch. Why not do that? Why not have bottomless drinks for like a noon? Here's how you do it. A noon game against an FCS school or a bad program. Make it like a brunch style where like you pay, I don't know, like $80. You go to the game and then you pay $80 a la carte. You get bottomless mimosas a la carte at a buffet, and you just get to have fun, like a fun brunch. You don't think there's a lot of casuals that may not even like college football that would go to that for fun, as a fun event to do, and then they get hooked once they show their phone, and once they get scanned, and once Tennessee can target them, and once Danny White can collect their data? I'm just saying, guys, it's not a crazy thought. What if a college football program does that? A big-time college football program with a bunch of fans should follow the Coastal Carolina model for one game of giving free concessions to everybody, making them download something onto their phone, which they scan, and then they can target them to come back in the future. Even if they have a ton of fans, this is a way to reach some new fans, because some new fans and some casuals would go to their games if you did this. And it should be a game in which you have a fall out of bed victory against an FCS school that's at noon, because like I said, at noon, you could also do an a la carte brunch for $80 with bottomless mimosas. I'm just suggesting things, guys. I'm just spitballing. I'm just throwing things out there. How epic would that be? Going to the message board. Matt says $460 for the cheapest ticket to the Tennessee-Georgia game. Crazy. You're right, Matt. They would never do this for the Georgia game. It would be wild. I don't think they could do that. Dan Yoder says Caleb looking for a riot. I'll tell you what if Tennessee or Alabama or somebody does this for that FCS homecoming game and then they lose that FCS homecoming game? Boy, a riot would absolutely happen. Dirty South Ball says, nice talking point, never going to happen. Give it a shot. Derek Owen says mimosas would attract a lot of golfers. Just saying. That's true. It also attracts the brunch crowd. The Sex in the City demographic, for those of you who are fans of the show. I'll just say it. Some Matt SS says, I ain't giving away my personal information for a hot dog. Matt, if you ever get a ticket scanned on your phone, though, when you go into a game, you're already giving away your personal information. Just saying. So Adam says, if you're trying to win a championship, you don't want fans sitting and stuffing their mouths. You want them engaged and involved in the home field advantage. Adam, that's why I said just one game against a FCS school. That's what I'm talking about. Just one time against an FCS program when people are just casually going anyway. I'll be honest. How many times have y'all seen? This has happened plenty of times, guys. Knoxville, Alabama, LSU, a noon game or an 11 a.m. kickoff if it's LSU Central Time in September when it's still really hot against a really bad team because conference play hasn't started yet. Those stadiums in the SEC can be dead because everybody's hungover from partying the night before, particularly the college kids. It's hot. They feel dehydrated. They try to make their way to the game. It's against a bad team, and they just hate it. And oftentimes they have to leave by halftime. So I'm just saying, we've all seen that happen. And so Adam adds, if you're trying to build a family atmosphere, you should sell concessions at cost and try to make the venue a pleasant place to bring the family. Great for baseball and pro sports. I mean, yeah, but this is what minor leagues sometimes have missed. This is why they're kind of falling behind college baseball. College baseball has actually done a great job with promoting things for a family atmosphere and promoting cheap concessions. But some minor league stadiums that do well are the ones that offer things like Thirsty Thursdays, $1 beers. Just saying. The poll question, could the Vols benefit from free concessions at Neyland Stadium for a game? Yes, get new fans, 57%. No, they're too big a program, 43%. Adam adds, one time is a boring concept right there with free pom-poms at the gate. Adam, come on. Pom-poms aren't going to draw anybody in. Free liquor, that might draw people in. Free food also could, by the way. And, get some high-quality chefs to make some just amazing food from the area. Just do it one time. Pay them a bunch of money. It would be worth it, guys. It would get you a whole new fan base. Just saying. It would be totally worth it. Say, if you buy a ticket to the game, we scan your ticket, and you get an a la carte menu from the best chef in town and bottomless mimosas. Derek says, chorizo mimosas is hard to beat at 10 a.m. to noon on a nice day in the South. You are absolutely right, Derek. You're absolutely right. And by the way, funny enough, DC guy here, DC is, I'm just saying this maybe because I'm biased to my perspective. DC is like the best brunch town in the country. People compare DC to New York, think the East Coast is all as one entity. It's not. DC is very different from New York. New York is the city that never sleeps. DC goes to sleep early and gets up early. Okay. They're up at 7. So DCers like to brunch at 10 and be done by noon and call it a day. All right. So I'm just saying, try that in Knoxville. I bet it'd be epic. The show represented by Banks & Jones, Tennessee's trial attorney, banksandjones.com. Why settle? Banks & Jones led by T. Scott Jones. Play to win. banksandjones.com. Live from the Ted Russell Ford Lincoln studio. Ted Russell Ford Lincoln is your home for the finest vehicles in Knoxville, new and used, East Tennessee's largest Ford and Lincoln volume dealer. Thank you guys all for tuning in to the shortened show today. Again, Dave Hooker was off. We will not have a show tomorrow. We will not have a show tomorrow. We will be back on Monday. So remember, no show Friday. Just want to make that clear to you guys in case you freak out and you log in and you're not going to be missing. You're not in the wrong place if you can't find our show tomorrow. We're not doing a show tomorrow. We will be back Monday. Thanks for tuning in. Please hit that like and subscribe button. Ring the bell. Turn the notifications on. Tell a friend. We'll see you all on Monday again at 10 a.m. Eastern. Again, no show tomorrow. No show Friday, April the 4th. We'll be back Monday at 10 a.m. Eastern. We're live every day. Every weekday, 10 a.m. Eastern, 10 a.m. to noon, obviously, except for Friday, except for tomorrow. Again, no show tomorrow. Again, thank you all for tuning in with Caleb Calhoun. This has